All right, everybody, so welcome back to another episode of Colton Posey Fishing. So today we're going to be talking about how to choose the right color bait for whatever situation you may be fishing. So I had a lot of struggles when I first picked up bass fishing as a kid, because we only threw like 2 different color worms, and that's about all we threw, period, was worms. My dad threw a June bug, and my mom always threw the blue flake. And we always caught fish. So, you know, if there's one thing that I can tell you about like choosing like worms and stuff, and I still take this to heart, keep it simple. Keep it super simple, and I guarantee you'll catch more fish. But either way, guys, stay tuned. This is something you don't want to miss. All right, guys, so let's talk about how to like choose the color. I keep it pretty much simple across all boards. It doesn't matter if I'm throwing a crankbait, a spinner bait, soft plastic. It doesn't really matter. I always keep it simple because I did a lot of struggling as I was younger, trying to decide on like, hey, do I need to throw this color bait, this color bait? I would throw the same bait, but I would change colors like 10 times, you know, within just an hour or two. And I come to realize it really doesn't have much to do with the color. It's really the action of the bait. Now, there is times to take in consideration, especially the color. But I've figured out as I've gotten older and the more time I put on the water, color isn't everything. It's got a lot to do with your presentation. But either way, before we jump into it, let me ask you to like the video. If any of my videos help you, make sure to like it. Helps me out a ton. It gets me in the algorithm. Also, don't forget to subscribe. So if you're new here, subscribe. I'm always putting out bass fishing content every Tuesday, Friday. Put out tons of shorts throughout the week. So, you know, if you miss something, you can find the stuff over there. But either way, guys, I'd really appreciate it. All right, guys, so let's talk about reds. This is one of the most notorious colors, you know, that you see people fishing with, especially during the winter and during the spring. So your crawl colors, your reds. So like this crankbait specifically, this is the Lucky Strike, not Lucky Craft, but Lucky Strike. I get them mixed up a lot. But the Lucky Strike, it's got that orange belly, and then, you know, it goes up to a little bit deeper red to a black back. Typically, I'm going to throw my bright oranges when that water's, you know, either super stained, even if it's a little warm. When the water's super stained, I'm talking like chocolate milk water. I'm talking like muddy water, okay? I'm gonna throw those oranges with those reds. But now during the winter too, during the winter is a great time to throw those bright orange colors. And why, I specifically don't know, but it seems to create more strikes. I don't know if it's because the fish, you know, are constantly looking up and just hunting. They're using their vision more than they are their lateral lines and stuff like that. But, you know, just that bright orange color seems to trigger a lot of bites, you know, in the real muddy water, or, you know, the really cold water. You know, you kind of got to move your bait slower and stuff. Now, if it's during the spring and I've got some really muddy water and I'm throwing this particular crankbait right here, the square bill, I'm still moving it pretty quick, but I'm not necessarily burning that bait and getting it back super quick. I'm making it erratic. I'm trying to, you know, cause as much disturbance in the water that I can. Plus this one right here, it's got the rattle in it, so, you know, they're able to feel it off their lateral line, and they're also able to see it from a long ways away with that bright orange belly. Now this one right here, this is the Lucky Craft. This one's got the dark red, and then it, you know, goes straight to a black back. So this is going to be your darker red colors that, me personally, I would typically use during spring. So, you know, those water temps that's in that 60 plus, 60 to 70, I'm typically going to be running this one, especially if the water's got a little bit of stain to it. So I'm not talking, you know, the muddy chocolate water like, you know, we were talking about with the other one. So I'm typically going to be throwing this bait, you know, in those spring seasonal pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna be throwing this in that stained water, full spring. It's just a great option, puts a lot of contrast in the water. As far as bait selections, I mean, just go back and watch my seasonal videos and I'll talk about the different baits that I use and stuff. But the dark reds, you want to use them when that water's a little bit warmer, in that 60 to 70 degree range, and then you want some stain on it. The bright orange, you kind of want that, and that real muddy chocolate water, or either winter, just dead winter. Okay, that's a great option during those times of year. All right, so this next one, before we jump into it, I want to tell y'all, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but at the end of all my videos I put bloopers because I mess up a lot. So if y'all want a good laugh at the end of the videos, keep watching till the very end, where it says thanks for watching. Y'all will see some goofy crap that I always get myself into. But either way, natural colors. So with my hard baits, my natural colors, your brim colors, your anything that's kind of transparent, that clear, clean water. Really, it doesn't even have to be clear, just as long as it's clean water. It's the typical watercolor. These is going to be great options, during the brim spawn, shad spawn, stuff like that. Your natural shad and your brim colors, anything that mimics panfish, whatever you may have, pickerel, anything, it doesn't matter, as long as you can mimic those with natural colors. But keeping up with what's going on during what seasons and how to identify that's going to be more important then hey, I'm just going to throw this color or this brim color because the water's clean or clear or whatever. So try to keep up with your seasonal pattern, spend as much time as you can on the water, and you'll be able to identify which natural color you want to throw. Like I said, the brim's going to be perfect for the shads, or the brim spawn, something like this with that clean clear water. This Lucky Craft American Shad's what it's called. It's got a lot of flash, it's got that blue back, it really mimics the bait fish really well. This is a perfect bait to mimic during the shad spawn, and you can cover so much water with it, so much water. Like I always suggest, swap to EWG hooks. That's going to be your best bet also when throwing hard baits. But either way, your natural colors, and really throughout spring and summer, your natural colors is going to shine more than anything. So once again, like this mega bass, this is the Ito Engineering 110 Max LBO. Okay, this is the bigger version of the 110. It doesn't dive very deep, but like, when would I typically throw this one right here? This is going to be one of those late fall baits. Okay, this is going to be one of those, it's natural, the water's clean, it's clear, we're transitioning into that fall zone, the big girls are up and they're eating. I'm going to throw this jerk bait and I'm going to run it wild. I mean, I'm going to be as fast as I can, like y'all see me when I throw my jerk baits, but I'm still using that natural color to mimic those bait fish, the bigger bait fish, okay, and to entice those bigger fish to bite this. They're going to get used to seeing, that's kind of like during the spring and stuff, we're throwing these big bulky baits. During the winter, we're throwing these big bulky baits, and then summer happens, and then we're all swapping to smaller size baits. Typically, some of us are still out there throwing bigger baits to entice bigger bites. But if you're like me and you're going to the water and you're just, hey, I just want to catch as many fish as I can, have a good time, I'm gonna go down in size, and I'm gonna just try to catch as many bass as I can. Small ones, big ones, it doesn't matter to me. I like the fight and I like finding them. So this bait right here is still a great way during that fall transition where everybody's still using those small 3 to 2 inch baits. You can swap back to this, and it's not something they see a whole lot. Make it work it real erratically, and you'll start catching fish again, and typically they're going to be those bigger bass. But stick to your natural colors. A lot of your transparent colors that you can see all the way through is perfect for clean, clear water. Okay, so just remember that clean, clear water. I want transparent, very natural looking baits. Anything that looks real natural. You don't if you go to buy a brim color and they're out of it, but they've got one that's just solid green, but it's still transparent, that will work too. So that's what I say when I mean keep it simple. This Strike King jerkbait, it's got the silver flash on the sides, got a little bit of the gold on the back. Maybe that water isn't super clean or clear, But you know, it's still, you know, I can see a couple feet down, but those fish are still coming up and eating towards the surface and stuff. You know, something like this is perfect to put off a little bit of flash. Oh, you know, bright blue day, put off a lot of flash. You can just entice them very well. It's a natural looking bait. You know, it looks, you know, kind of like a bait fish. So, you know, here's the thing too, what I can suggest if you're fishing, you know, just a few lakes, figure out what bait fish are in the lakes. Just a quick Google search, and then, you know, look up the bait fish and see exactly what they look like, and then choose your baits based on that. And you know, there isn't just typically, like if you're in a small area, there's not just tons of different bait fish. You know, like I got 3 lakes here close to my home, and all 3 lakes, they have the same exact bait fish in them, except for one. One's got the normal thread fin bait fish, but it also has the blueback heron. So I do have some baits to mimic the blueback heron also. But you know, typically, you know, your thread fin shad fisheries and gizzard fisheries, you know, you'll be able to mimic those very, very well and very, very easily by just looking up and seeing exactly what those bait fish look like, and then choose your size based on it. So you know, if you see those bass chasing those shad, but you can't really see the shad, they're just super small, you want to stick to those transparent type baits or something really flashy. Okay, so it's pretty, just keep it simple. Like I said, always keep it simple. You keep it simple, I promise you'll catch more fish. Now let's talk about soft plastic. So like your crawls, your soft crawls, your worms, lizards, any type of soft plastic you want to run, keep it simple, super simple. Okay, you know, your watermelon seed, your green pumpkins, your pumpkin seeds, anything like that that looks very, very natural is going to be perfect in clean, clear water. So whether you're teaming this up, you know, just on a standard Texas rig, a drop shot, or whatever, it doesn't matter what any kind of soft plastic you're using. Maybe you're putting it on a jig. Keep it natural. If the water's clean, clear, if the fish have great visibility, your clean, clear water, your colors, keep them natural. Watermelon, green pumpkin, like I said. Don't like your darker colors, your black and blue, your June bug, things like that. Just solid black soft plastics. I'm typically going to run those when that water's stained, muddy, whatever. Low light conditions, this is perfect for something like that. And I'm doing the same thing, you know, a Texas rig, or you know, maybe I'm putting it on a jig or a drop shot or anything like that. You know, I'm going to go with those darker colors when that thing or when those situations happen. So let's talk about weather conditions and water clarity. All right, so let's talk about weather conditions. So let's say you've got low light conditions. There's not a whole lot of you know, sunshine. It's just cloudy as all get out, foggy, whatever. But the water is that clean, clear. That's typically when I'm gonna go with something like, you know, a white and chartreuse spinnerbait, you know, or maybe like a darker Texas rig, something like that. It just kind of depends on wind and stuff like that. When it's super windy, you know, I'm gonna go with the spinnerbait. I'm gonna go with you know, the square bill crankbaits. That's all gonna be in that realm. You know, those times where I don't have a whole lot of time, I can really narrow it down quicker just by looking at the weather ahead and then identifying, hey, I need to be trying this, I need to be doing this first thing in the morning or in the evening or whatever it may be. So you know, let's say you know, you got bright blue days and it's just slick calm. I want to go with natural colors, natural presentations. Okay, so you know, I want to go with flukes and things like that, but I want it to, you know, just mimic the bait fish or the brim or whatever may be going on at that time in a real natural way. So like, you know, the watermelon seed crawls, or like the American shad, you know, square bill crankbait, stuff like that is going to be perfect during, you know, those calm, clear days, or just super bright, sunny days. Even when you got, you know, if it's super bright and you've got a lot of wind and, you know, the water's clean, the American shad's still going to work good. But just try to plan ahead and look at the weather conditions. So, you know, is it going to be cloudy? If it's low light conditions, I need to try, you know, these these darker baits that's kind of gonna, you know, let everything kind of blend in, seeing something that looks very, very natural to their environment around them. So, you know, it kind of tricks them into biting, in my opinion, either way. But guys, I hope the video helped you. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe for more content. I got you covered when it comes to anything bass fishing. Also, $2 a month, we got members only. You can, you know, if you can do it, great. If you can't, I completely understand, but I appreciate you stopping by either way, and I'll see you next time. That slight stain, wow, these sticks are hooky. Or, these hooks are sticky. Oh, man. Oh, man.